Hey everyone, I'm Paul, aka Pabro.
And I'm Andre, also known as Meddler. Welcome to Season 1 of 2026.
We're back to talk more about some of the things we have coming this season, as well as a little bit about some plans later in 2026 and beyond.
First though, let's quickly recap what you can expect when you log in tomorrow.
Whether you're playing Ranked, Norms, or Swift Play, you're in for some changes. Right off the bat, in those queues, you'll be hitting your first minions faster as we increase speeds in Champ Select and the first minion and jungle spawns. We also adjusted some gameplay systems, like Phalites for expanded temporary warding zones, 9 new and returning items, and a new demolish-like mechanic on towers called Crystalline Overgrowth.
We've streamlined some objectives as well, removing Artican and his Blood Roses, as well as feats of strength. And we've made the remaining epic objectives, like Baron and Dragons, a bit stronger. Finally, we're also adding a unique role quest to top, mid, and bot lane, similar to the jungle and support quests, which are also getting some upgrades. Each lane will progress on those quests by killing minions, taking towers, killing enemies, or helping take down neutral objectives. And then once complete, these quests will grant rewards based off your position. That means an increased level cap and free teleport spell for top laners, tier 3 boots and empowered recall for mid, or more gold and a 7th item slot for bot.
There's a lot more in store, including a whole bunch of additional changes for Swift Play. If you want a refresher, check out the dev blogs from December that are linked in the description. All right, moving on. Let's talk a bit about what you can expect going into Season 1. As we shared in December, this year we wanted to kick things off with unity, justice, and righteousness. And that means Demacia. But even more importantly, that means it's Shyvana time, y'all!
As most of you probably saw in yesterday's cinematic, she's looking pretty nifty with a new design. And after years of waiting, she's finally getting her update in Act 2 of this season. Now, aside from updated visuals for her base human and dragon forms, and of course all her skins, she's got a sort of a Dr. Mundo or Volibear level gameplay rework. At a high level, her abilities remain pretty similar, but her finer kit details and gameplay feel are meaningfully updated.
We really wanted to focus on connecting her two forms better throughout her kit. One of the clearest connections for that is her ult. Shyvana still gains fury when using abilities and taking down champions, cannons, and monsters. When she has enough fury, she can cast her ult to transform into an actual dragon this time and breathe down fire on everyone in her path.
Another part of her kit that's pretty similar to now is her passive. Shyvana will gain defensive stats and max fury for taking down champions, cannons, and neutral monsters. Build-wise, we wanted to preserve her ability to be played both as a bruiser or as a mage. That said though, in terms of her core champion theme, we want her bruiser build to be the primary choice. It's the most natural feeling one for most games. So we're going to be prioritizing that a bit over being a poke mage.
We want to save the rest of her kit for her full reveal in Act 2, and we can't wait to see what you all think when you get your hands or claws on her in a few patches. Summoner's Rift has a Demacia-themed reskin with Petricite towers, gold-winged accents, and a few Easter eggs. There will also be a handful of motion comics throughout the season that will follow up on some of the moments from the season start cinematic.
Outside of that, we also have a metagame that will be live tomorrow called Demacia Rising. We're trying something different this time with a metagame that evolves over the course of the season, with updates coming out at regular intervals. In Demacia Rising, you'll experience the rise of the Kingdom of Demacia through the eyes of a young Lux, as she gets lessons in history, politics, and military strategy from her aunt, Tiana Crownguard.
You'll help take Demacia from its humble beginnings as a single, small settlement to a beautiful, shiny nation. In Demacia Rising, you'll collect resources, unlock research, and recruit champions to grow your kingdom, all while fighting off invaders and suppressing threats from within.
Now, we took a lot of learnings from previous metagames, and we wanted to make sure you could play the way you wanted to, rather than needing to, say, dedicate 15 to 30 minutes at a time when engaging with a metagame like this. This time, you can spend as much or as little time as you want building and managing your cities, and you'll be able to complete fights through auto-battling. Now, if you choose to spend more time playing though, you'll be rewarded with some bonus Battle Pass XP.
And finally, outside of Demacia-related things coming this season, we also wanted to take a moment to discuss ARAM Mayhem. It's been an incredibly popular mode since it came out last year. Tons of you have been playing it, and you've been telling us a lot about how much fun you're having with all the wacky augments. So, it's going to be sticking around for a while longer.
We're also working on a larger update to ARAM Mayhem that will come out in patch 26.3. We'll share a bit more about that though when we get closer to the time. Outside of thematic changes, we have another change that we're trialing in some regions starting tomorrow. Last year we were working on really addressing game running behavior, things like inting and griefing. And we have some other improvements to cut down on dodging and lobby trolling. Like removing the ability to ban your ally's hovered champion or making it so that autofill persists through dodges.
We have another body of work that pairs with those two efforts, lobby hostage intervention. Right now, there isn't a good way for us to take immediate action on bad actors who hold lobbies hostage by threatening to run it down or just to play something that doesn't work. Either you or someone else is forced to dodge, or you have to play the game out, which means more often than not, it ends in a loss. And while the perpetrator gets punished and you get some LP refunded, your time isn't.
So, starting tomorrow in some regions, you'll be able to terminate lobbies that are held hostage by bad actors. We've been running some tests on live servers for some time now, using your lobby reports to refine the system, and we have high confidence in our day one accuracy. We're not going to explain exactly how this works, because we don't want said bad actors to try and find ways around the system. But we are going to look at a variety of triggers. Things like, text intention. If somebody says, "I'm going to run it down," we're actually going to trust them on that one. Or if they're doing something like taking Ghost Cleanse on a champ in a lane they never play, same deal.
If the lobby is terminated, you'll be returned to the queue, similar to how it works now when someone dodges. If you enjoy playing viable off-meta picks, don't need to worry about it. We still want experimentation to thrive in League, so we'll be closely monitoring how the system works with manual reviews. We'll be rolling out these changes to all regions slowly to ensure that it remains high accuracy.
Okay, and with all that said, we're now going to hand things over to Riot Hylia and 100-piece Nuggets, and they'll talk a bit about some of the skins we have coming out this season.
Hi everyone, I'm A Million Piece Nuggets.
And I'm Riot Hylia. New year, same us. We're back to talk to y'all about skins, art, and who's going to be hitting the Rift in Season 1.
As Pabro and Meddler said in December, we're going to have a mix of Demacian and non-Demacian skins to liven things up this season.
So, for both our grab bag skins and our larger lineups, we're reviving some beloved thematics as well as doing some totally new ones.
Starting off strong, next patch we'll have skins for all our fellow anime lovers. First up, we have Battle Academia, Briar and Samira, alongside our new stylized take on mecha anime with a skin for Ornn and a new legendary skin for Galio.
I am so excited for Aegis Frame Galio. The team's done an amazing job and he is looking so cool in game.
So good.
I can't wait. Oh, and of course, we'll also be celebrating Lunar Rebel this year. When we were deciding what skins to make, we had a few different ideas. We could bring back something that we haven't done in a while, or we could try something new entirely. And honestly, we couldn't decide, so...
Why not both?
Yep.
Firecracker will be returning this year, bringing a fun, celebratory, and upbeat style to the holiday, with lots of, firecrackers.
Firecrackers. And then we'll have a new thematic that we're calling Petals of Spring, that we made in collaboration with Wild Rift. Petals of Spring was inspired by the beautiful elegance of plum blossoms against snowy fields. We really wanted something that could herald the new season of spring with that high beauty, just to make sure we had some tonal contrast from the fun of Firecracker.
But if you're looking for something a little goofier, don't worry. We have some pretty unhinged ideas for April Fools this year.
We certainly do. Like last year, we aren't going with a single overarching theme for April Fools. And instead, we're making skins based on what works well for each champion. And we were inspired by a pretty wide range of things like balloon animals, pugs,
Donks,
to name a few.
Later in Act 2, we'll see a darker side of Demacia with a new set of skins. And we've also got a totally new thematic we're introducing for First Stand this year.
It's a brand new take on the established Road Warrior theme, where we're reimagining it in a supernaturally fueled, engine-powered fantasy with more edge, leather, chrome, and maybe a little bit of werewolves?
Just a little bit.
Just enough, yeah.
All right, outside of regular skin drops, we wanted to take a moment to discuss some lists. So first, prestige skins.
Prestige Mother Morgana will be out tomorrow. And then later this season, Sona and Mordekaiser will also be receiving prestige skins.
Outside of prestige skins, we also have a mythic variant for Aurelian Soul coming next patch. And later this season, Master Yi will be getting one as well.
And finally, let's talk about Exalted skins. Last year we mentioned that Viego would be receiving one, and then that he was delayed. But now it's finally time. Next patch, Revenant Reign Viego will come to the Sanctum.
We worked with a ton of Viego mains to talk about what the ultimate Viego experience is, and it became pretty obvious. Killing your enemies and taking over their bodies.
Oh, and having a huge sword.
Right,
Yeah.
the sword.
Yeah, iconic, yeah.
So with that in mind, we narrowed in on a combination of those two things. So Revenant Rain Viego collects swords from his enemies, gaining power and unique visual effects for every class of enemy he possesses.
There are a ton of cool moments and features in the skin that we cannot wait for y'all to see. So keep your eyes peeled for the trailer that drops later today.
And finally, we wanted to let you know that the victorious skin this season will be everyone's favorite mustachioed muscle man, Braum. As a reminder, you can get the skin at any rank as long as you play enough games.
All right, well, that's it for us. We'll hand things over to the esports team who've got some updates on their plans for the year.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll be back soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Waylon, head of international publishing and esports.
And I'm Chris, head of League of Legends Esports.
We're incredibly excited to welcome you to the start of the 2026 League of Legends esports season.
2025 was a historic year for us, filled with unforgettable storylines, big changes to the format, and incredible competition. And of course, a huge congratulations once again to T1, who made history by becoming the first team ever to win 3 consecutive world championships. What an unbelievable accomplishment for them and for all the fans who followed their journey.
Now, as we turn the page to new year, we're ready to kick off another incredible season, one that builds on everything we've learned, celebrates our global community, and continues pushing LoL esports forward. Let's dive into what's ahead for 2026 and some key updates shaping the future of LoL esports.
And what better way to begin the season than with our first global event of the year, First Stand. From March 16th to the 22nd, we'll be bringing First Stand to Sao Paulo, Brazil at the Riot Games Arena. Brazil has always been home to some of the most passionate fans in the world, and we couldn't be more excited to bring this event to the heart of CBLOL country. With the LCS and CBLOL returning as independent leagues, the competition will now feature 8 teams battling for early season dominance and regional pride. We'll be welcoming 2 teams from the LCK, 2 from the LPL, and 1 each from the LEC, LCS, CBLOL, and LCP. Every match will be best of 5, which means more games, more silver scrapes, and more opportunities for teams to show their skill, adaptability, and their creativity under pressure.
And that's just the beginning of what's ahead for our 2026 global events. After First Stand wraps up in Brazil, we'll head into the Mid-Season Invitational, hosted this year in Daejeon, South Korea, marking the first time we've ever brought MSI to this incredible city. We'll have more to share on the venue soon, but we couldn't be more excited to bring one of our biggest international events to a new stage in South Korea. And as we head into the new season, in the wake of the success of Fearless, we're continuing to refine how League is played at the highest level. We've been exploring an improvement to side selection in order to give players and teams more agency in the draft.
Yeah, so after detailed discussions with regional leagues, pro teams, and our gameplay team, we've decided to decouple side selection and draft order through a new approach we're calling First Selection. Here's how it works. Teams who previously had the right of side selection will now have the right of first selection. That means they can choose either which side to play on, blue or red, or whether to pick first or second in the draft. Once that choice is made, their opponent can choose the other. So if Team A chooses to play on blue side, Team B gets to decide whether they're going to draft first or second. Or if Team A chooses to draft first, then Team B gets to decide which side they'll play on. This decoupling gives pro teams more strategic flexibility to shape their approach based on their comfort, their preparation, their opponent scouting, whatever, rather than having to rely on the baked-in advantage that is tied to color.
And our goal here is simple. We want to empower teams to make meaningful choices that reflect their strategies and preparation, while also helping to mitigate side imbalance through competitive decision-making rather than through hard-coded advantages. We consider this a minor but targeted update, one designed to complement Fearless draft, not redefine it. We'll continue to test, monitor, and collect feedback from players and fans as the season unfolds, ensuring that this new approach drives the right kind of competitive balance and depth that we're aiming for.
As we continue refining how competition evolves, it's just as important to honor the players who have shaped League Esports into what it is today. Hall of Legends will return later than usual this year, but fans can still expect its comeback ahead of Worlds 2026. We'll have more to share in the months ahead, but we can promise that our third inductee is another true icon who has left an unforgettable mark on our esports community.
Well, that's a wrap on the latest updates from LoL Esports. We're looking forward to another incredible year of competition, and we'll have more to share soon about our upcoming global events and future updates.
So to every player, every team, every fan around the world, we wish you the best of luck in the 2026 season. Let's make it another year to remember for League of Legends Esports.
Before we go, we want to talk about some longer-term plans for League after 2026. We're often asked if we're going to make League of Legends 2 someday, and the answer to that has been and remains no. We've always been committed to constantly improving and updating League, from new game modes and champion updates to balancing the game every other week and so on.
There are some things, though, that do make the most sense as part of a larger bundle of changes. And with that in mind, we've been working on some bigger updates to League.
We're not quite ready to show you our work in progress. It's coming along well, but it's just not ready for a first look yet. We want to tell you about some of those things that, at this point, the majority of the League team are now working on.
So for starters, we're making a brand new around game client that's fully integrated with the in-game experience, rather than being a separate application like today.
We're also revamping Summoner's Rift with entirely new visuals and a bit of new gameplay.
Plus some changes to runes and how you make some pre-game choices.
And we're overhauling the new player experience so that once we're done, it should be the best time ever to get your friends into League.
There is a bit more to this update than we've mentioned here, and we'll have more to share sometime later this year between MSI and Worlds. Until then, we'll still of course have regular dev updates on everything else going on.
Your love and dedication to League is what drives us to make this game better. Your voices and input are vital to League and will help shape where we go next. So as always, thank you so much for your time, your support, and just for everything. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you on the Rift.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.